Today's episode of the Just Keep Swimming podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is an online audiobook and podcast service offering over 10,000 books and the ability to listen to your favorite podcasts, including the Just Keep Swimming podcast. I personally use Audible all the time and suggest you take a listen to Intentional Living by John C. Maxwell. In this book, Mr. Maxwell shares his story on how he was able to live a noble and purposeful life and gives you tips and tricks so you can do the same. So please start your 30-day free trial now at www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast, all lowercase. Again, that is www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast. And if you have any more questions or concerns for the Just Keep Swimming podcast, you're always welcome to reach out to us on Facebook or at Instagram at justkkeepswimming_podcast, or you can email us at jkspodcast702@gmail.com. And with that out the way, let's dive into it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Just Keep Swimming podcast. This is your friend, your boy, your host, Mr. Adrian Jackson, and we back at it again with another great episode for you. And you already know who's with me. It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Mr.
Toi. What's going on, y'all?
Not much, bro. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Chill day for sure. You?
Yo, yeah, man. It's been a hell of a week, but finally got some good news today, so
yeah.
Positive, looking forward. Just next steps, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, it's going with the flow. That's all I really can do.
That part.
Yeah, man. But yeah, bro. I had a little topic for us today. Nothing super long or anything like that. I think something I kind of been thinking about the other day. I'm gonna call this staying sharp. Mm-hmm. So, I know both me and you both are athletes, and that's probably the easiest way to start it off, and then we can get deeper as we go. But being an athlete. Definitely growing up being an athlete, you learn so many different things on how to keep yourself in shape.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You learn how to lift weights a certain way, shoot certain different type of running regimens, sometimes diets and stuff like that. Definitely for the people who were collegiate athletes and they were on their diets and stuff like that.
Right.
And, I kind of realized that there's a lot of things that we learned in life back in the day that we still apply now. Mm-hmm. And, it keeps us quote unquote sharp, you know what I'm saying? I kind of just want to talk about that a little bit today, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when you hear the word staying sharp, what does that mean to you?
Just staying on the peak of your game, all the things that you kind of practice, you don't let it dwindle down into nothingness,
Mm-hmm.
Just like a blade, I'll use a katana, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back in the old days, or the medieval era in Japan, well, they use swords, or even in Europe, they use swords and stuff. But as it's being used, it dulls up, yeah, and then effectively becomes useless.
Mm-hmm.
I have a pair of katanas at home where they're just dull at the edge, so they're not going to cut anything. You can still use it, but it's going to require a lot more force, and energy.
Mm-hmm.
Staying sharp is making sure that it's still second nature. So in the case of the blades, okay, well now I don't have to put so much force into cutting something if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just kind of translates through life, whatever skills you learn, just staying on top of that and making sure it's still a second nature to you.
Right. And I love that analogy, because that is kind of takes me, still talking about weaponry, but guns too. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You can go out there and shoot your gun all you want to, but you have to clean that bad boy at some point, or at some point you go back out there, it's going to jam up on you. It's going to be not useful.
Right.
Definitely the time you need it. That's the last thing you wanted to do. The last thing you want is to need a sharp knife and all you got is butter knives around you. That part. And it's well, damn, now I got to try to stab this nigga in the eye or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So and that's exactly what I was thinking of. I was thinking of staying sharp. There's skills and techniques that we still use from back in the day that still keeps us in where we are right now. Mm-hmm. So let's focus on three different aspects today: the physical, mental, and spiritual. Okay. So first, let's for the physical. Mm-hmm. What are some things that you learned in your life that you know, helps you stay physically sharp still. You know, I know we're not in our prime still, but
Right.
you know,
I would say the number one thing that kind of comes across my mind on the daily would be balance. When I was doing martial arts from like 6th to 7th grade, balance was a huge thing. That's like your core your core of your body. So when it came to, you know, when I chose to do football again for 8th grade and stuff like that, balance definitely kept me like in the most shape of my life in a sense. It held everything together. Whether it came to when I hit somebody, it's like, okay, well, I know I'm going to stand on my feet or stand on my fours whenever I get knocked down. I won't get knocked down as often, you know. And then especially when I started doing wrestling in high school, I feel like that kind of just made me a natural at the sport,
right.
Just because I already had the balance to stand on one foot or, you know, contort my body a certain way to throw somebody else off, especially in terms of like redirection. You need a lot of balance for redirection,
right?
And that's the whole sport about.
So what do you do to keep your balance still?
I would say to keep my balance, it's just daily movement. Even when I'm not doing anything, I'll just like stand on one leg or put myself in a compromised position to test myself to see if I can still balance and do what I need to do.
Right.
And how that kind of comes into play on the day-to-day is when I get into a situation where I might trip or something like that, where I stumble over my feet, I'm still able to stand up, and you'll rarely ever see me fall. I think even just today, I'll have to get up from my desk to go get something from the printer, which was behind me, but I have to go around like the supervisor's desk. And I kind of stumbled and then hit my hip on the corner, and that's like a set up to fall on the ground.
Right.
But because I had my balance, I was still able to coordinate myself, even if I'm sore or not sore. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how I kind of just naturally keep myself sharp in terms of balance, and that's what I use today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. So like for me, I think the opposite for me would be more. You know, I've been thinking about it. Unfortunately, I don't work out the way I used to, but when I do go to the gym, I still do my football workouts, definitely like my trifectas. You know, my bench workout's always the same. I've been doing my same bench workout, since fucking 17, 18, you know what I'm saying? Bench press, hammer press, and then extensions. You know, butterflies. And you do that one set. That's one set, and you do 3 sets in a row. So, like, I always think that keeps my... You know, I'm fatter than I used to be, but at the same time, I don't feel like I look sloppy because I still keep up with those basic workouts. Water, you know what I'm saying? I think Dad instilled that into me a long time ago. Water. Like, the most I'll do is some lemonade, sweet tea, but like sodas, I don't touch sodas, not even Sprite. Like, the only soda I would truly touch if I seen it in the lineup would be root beer. And that's because that's just root beer. I don't know what it is. Yeah, something about root beer is root beer, but at the same time, I can only have one. I can do 2 back to back because that'd be too much for me.
Right.
You know?
So it even comes to the point where whenever you try to drink anything like carbonated soda, it just burns and it's just it's not even enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's too much carbs. Like when what freaking came out, the carbonated water started coming out, the bubbly water and stuff. I was like, I am not fucking with this. Like, I need me some regular water. I don't need the bottle that's gonna bubble up and taste like soda. I might as well drink a soda then.
That part.
Because now it's fucking drinking flavored soda. So yeah, I feel that. But one thing I think I do truly still always work on too is hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think my hand-eye coordination is something that I'm still pretty proud of, definitely at this age. Like last night, I asked Jessica to grab me a water, and it was dark in here, and she threw it at me, and I didn't see it in the air, but I just seen it from the release, and something just made my hands go right to the spot where the water bottle was gonna land, and I caught it blind, low key. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, my hand-eye coordination is like that. I can still have the ability to drop stuff, and or I knock something over and I catch it before it hit the ground, or I know something's about to fall and I throw my hand behind my back in a weird direction. I catch it, and they're like, "How the hell did you do that?" And I'm like, my reflexes is that level. But then going based off to the next step, how do you practice it still? I still walk around, do dumb stuff like a little kid. Like, if I'm going on a walk sometimes, I'll toss my water bottle in the air.
Same.
And try to catch it with one hand, or out there playing flag football with the kids, I'll play catch myself till the kids show up, and while they just throw the ball back, because, you know, I'd be like, throw it back. Just throw it back to me. And I'll try to catch it one hand behind my back or something, do something a little fancy. But, you know, I think me still practicing the basic hand-eye coordination, my catching and stuff like that. You know, video games, unfortunately, but just those things just make it so my reflexes are still up to where I want them to be at, you know?
I was going to say, like, a huge benefit of that is, because I do the same thing, when like, let's say you're carrying something up the stairs or something, your hands are kind of full, and it's like, okay, you got the balance for that. Or let's say something valuable is about to fall off the table, or it slips out of somebody's hand, and then it's just not even a second thought. You're still sharp on the dot and just grab that real quick. Yeah,
and it's crazy. You be like, damn, I don't know how I did that, but every time you do it, you be like, yeah, I'm smooth. I'm Spider-Man, this bitch.
That.
You know what I'm saying? I love it. All right, so then the next aspect was mental. So what are some things you do to keep yourself mentally sharp still?
That one's a little bit more difficult, but I would say just thinking of all the possibilities that could be given in any situation. And I don't know, that kind of touches into spiritual, but just trusting in that. Right. So, like, I guess at work, I think naturally work is just where I practice that the most. Is just helping me focus and staying on task as much as possible, especially now today it's just difficult with all these distractions. Right. But you know, just understanding what I need to do, keeping that list in my head, and then executing all of that. Right. And then I would say mentally as well, and I guess in terms of, like, I guess mental health, it would be just being more mindful. Understanding when thoughts come into my head that, you know, those don't necessarily mean my thoughts, and understanding that came from like from the past. Yeah, it was a lot more rampant back then, but one thing I still will say that kind of kept me together most of the part back then that I learned when I was young was just separating my feelings from my thoughts. Keeping those two separate to make as much like of a balanced and neutral decision as possible, given any situation. And that helps me contain my cool and extend my patience at work when dealing with things or dealing with my peers and things of the such. Also just processing emotions whenever I do have downtime. I'm always just thinking in general. And if I know something that flares up, it's just like, okay, well, it's there, just let it go. Right. It is what it is.
Exactly. It's just a thought at the end of that. Yeah, no, and I like that, and I think that's a great thing that a lot of people don't look at work as, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, at some point you look at work like driving a car. You know, it's just a cognitive skill that you can just go in there and do blindly, and you're worried about other stuff and not realizing it. But it's like, if you actually sit there and focus on your work, you're training your brain to focus. You know what I'm saying? You're working out muscles that you probably don't work out no more because you don't focus like that while you're at home, or like you used to while you were in school, you know, taking tests and stuff. So I think that right there is a great analogy to say that, you know, work is what helps me stay focused as well.
I was going to say, to even expand on that for like my personal goals, in a sense, like, you know, I've been trying to just be more comfortable in social settings and stuff like that. It's performing my job because I have to be social when clients come up to my desk, but taking a mental note and realizing how easy that was for me just because I'm doing my job, and then to translate that to wherever else I'm at. Right. And I will say, like, I've just been making remarkable progress just because I'm practicing that every day and becoming just more attuned to doing what I need to do.
Right. And then that's real. And I'm glad you put those two aspects together, because a lot of people don't realize, like, it's like, yo, you work at the bank and you say this script over and over and over again, and you say, like you said, it's confident, it flows out your mouth, you know what I'm saying? But then right after that, you will say, oh, I'm scared of public speaking though. And it's like, bro, you do it all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do this all day, every day. Like, you're a great public speaker. It's a different stage, and that's because that different stage makes you feel like it's different, but you're technically doing the same thing still. The only difference is you're talking from one person, two people, to a few hundred, but
and
shoot, not 110. And you change the subject, and that's
Yeah.
what it is. But when you're confident on your subject, shoot, you can talk about anything. You know?
Exactly.
So I agree.
What about you?
Yeah, so for me mentally, you know, I always have my daily stuff. I read a book, listen to audiobooks, all that stuff. You guys been on that. If you haven't known that by now, you haven't been listening. But something I do that I used to do a lot, that I still do, and I just find myself funny, is I watch a lot of science and nature stuff.
Same.
Yeah, like I love how it's made. You know, there was this one show called they show you how all the candies and stuff are made. You know, I love the Animal Planet, or you know, Planet Earth, Animal Planet stuff. You know, shit. They had one whole show talking about, you know, animal babies. And then, you know, it sounds like it's supposed to be a cute show, but shit, this little otter swimming out there by itself and he can't find his mama, and it's like, damn, he about to get ate.
Right.
You know, but that nature stuff always just relates back to me, because it's like, okay, nature is smooth, nature is perfect, you know what I'm saying? Nature is a lot, you know, it's dangerous, but at the same time, it's so many mysteries still that we don't understand. You know, I just watched this whole hour episode, and at the end of the episode, he said, we still don't understand why they do this. And it's like, it's still mysterious. You know, so that kind of just lets me know that we don't know everything still. You know, it's still so much to learn. It's still so much to grow, you know, or just the process of how things are made. You know, I love just watching, like, damn, I didn't know that they did that to make gum. You know what I'm saying? Or they put that inside ketchup, you know, stuff like that. I did this to my coworkers the other day, actually. Because, you know, they're, oh, yeah, I love this, I love that. I'm like, have you seen how that's made, though? No. I'm like, you haven't watched how it's made. You can watch this video, see how it's made, and tell me what you still think about it.
Yeah.
And now they're like, yeah, I'm not eating no more Worcestershire sauce or whatever the case may be. But it's like, it teaches you about what you're consuming, what you're eating, what you're using. You know what I'm saying? The basic stuff. And I think that is always, it always keeps me interested. It always makes me think more about, how did that happen? How did this created? Where did this come from?
I was going to say it's more of like a consumption of like educational information, and then the application and that thereof.
Right, exactly. So like the educational part of it makes me think still too, and thinking deeper, because usually, like real talk, it'll start off with, I'm watching an episode on ketchup, and the beginning of the episode they'll say, you know, okay, we start making ketchup by tomato paste. Pause. How is tomato paste made? Now I'm gonna go find a video and figure out how tomato paste made. Next thing I know, I'm just on this wormhole, but it's an educational wormhole. So it's like, technically, I'm not mad at myself. It's not like I'm just streaming and watching nothing. I'm actually learning something at the same time. So
That part.
yeah, that's what I do for sure for my mental stay sharp. I just continue to watch
And continue to learn.
educational. Yeah. Anytime I have a question on how something's made or how this got processed or where this even came from, I start to research it. And I think Vanjie taught me that too.
Yeah,
you know?
same.
Like, yes, Google came out and everybody's Googler now, but she taught me to do that before Google even popped up. Like,
Grab a dictionary.
yeah, grab a dictionary, you know what I'm saying? Watch something, watch the news, or whatever. So that's why I was like, okay, let me watch more science channels to figure out how there's the cooking channels. I love to watch the cooking channels and see what people use to put together in their meals and stuff like that. I always love watch cooking channels, and I still do. You know what I'm saying? It's always blowing my mind, like, okay, I didn't think about those two flavors going together. You know what I'm saying? So I think stuff like that is always just keeps me sharp for sure. Yes, sir. Okay, last but not least, spiritual. What do you do to stay sharp in your spiritual life?
You know, this one's a bit of an interesting side of things, considering like how my spiritual life has led me since I was young. I mean, as you know, we used to go to church and stuff when we were younger, and then it just kind of stopped. So like I kind of always had like that faith in God. But I remember, I still have it, but I remember Grandma gave me this pamphlet that gave the Lord's Prayer, and I would say that, and I'd be like, "Yo, can I hear something from you? Like, let me hear some." And I never really heard anything, you know.
Right.
So that's kind of where my faith kind of dwindled. So I can't necessarily say that
You was always sharp in that area.
Yeah, because it was absent.
I mean, but you're getting sharp now, though.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's okay.
But I was gonna say but I kind of recently realized I still kind of brought something from that, which was just faith in general. Like, even though it technically wasn't directed at God at the time, or especially during my adolescence.
But it was faith in something.
It was faith in something. I would have faith that the parents would stop fighting or something. I would have faith that things would be all right at school, or I would get this or get that, or some type of advancement would be there was faith in something. And I mean, now that I'm thinking about it as I'm saying it, I think that's probably the one thing that was kind of like the last ditch safety net for when I went through my near-death experience. Because I don't think I should have made it out of that, but that was the one thing that I had to confide in and like actually be tested on. All right, do I trust this? Do I put my faith in this? That because otherwise I'm not going to be here.
Right.
So to practice that on the day-to-day is just still believing in what saved me and what is out there, which is God in my case. And then honestly just recently just been picking up the Bible and reading that more and more. Right. Forcing myself into a position where it's like, okay, I need to actually prioritize this. Because otherwise it's like I feel like I just don't have any direction. Right. So I think that, and then just a combination of the physical and the mental, and just practicing that, because as long as your body's strong, as long as that temple's strong, then the faith inside will also be strong for you as well. Right. So I think all of that just kind of comes together. Yeah,
I feel that.
What about you?
So for me, something from the past that can come to spiritual. I think the only thing from my past I truly continue to do is pray before I eat. Doug's dad, Big Doug. Big Doug. I was gonna call him Doug, but Big Doug. So Big Doug, I'll never forget. We was at his house one day. We was about to eat, and then we was about to say grace, and then right after we said grace, he asked us, "Why do you say grace?" And I was like, "I've been told to. Yeah, this is what I've been told to do before I eat." And he's like, "No, the reason you say grace is because you have no idea what happened to your food. Definitely being that if you didn't cook it, fast food, restaurant, whatever the case may be. You have no idea what happened to your food, and something bad can be in your food that's there to hurt you. So you always say grace to ask God to protect you from whatever is in there to hurt you. And that's why you grace your food." And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. So that was something that always stuck with me. Definitely messing with some of my ignorant frat brothers that will fucking Elijah. We'll go to Jack in the Box at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he'll ask for a milkshake, and the milkshake machines will be off. And this dude would be like, "You ain't no milkshakes? What?" And I'd be like, "Bruh, don't do that. Like, that's how people spit in your food." You know what I'm saying?
That part.
And then with people like that, it was to the point like, yeah, I need to make sure I pray before I eat my food, because I don't know what these people did to my food right now. They could have dropped the patty, and then social media started blowing up. You start to see people throwing ice in fryers, and hearing all the wild crap they was doing food. So it's like, okay, let me make sure I say my grace, hope this food nurture my body. You know what I'm saying? Just the minimum at least. That part. Hope that whatever happens, hopefully I don't get sick from this meal. And I think that's something that's really just translated naturally. Like, I just been doing that my whole life, and I just been trying to just expand on it.
I was gonna say, like, have you expanding it to like your other situations?
Exactly. Exactly. So it's not just food now it's for anything. Like, wake up in the morning, pray. You know what I'm saying? I had a meeting yesterday. Don't know what's about to happen, but I know it's gonna be good because you put this to my life. So I'm just gonna focus on getting through this process. You know what I'm saying? And just praying that everything's gonna be all right. There's nothing's here to harm me. It's all for my good. It's all here to nurture me. Now that I put like that in those words, that's exactly what it sounds like. Every time I pray, it's like, it's not here to hurt me. I know it's here to nurture me. I know it's for my good. I mean, I like it, but I'll go through it. Right. And it always makes you go through it. Eating peas. I never ate my peas, but it was never there to hurt me. It was always there to make me better. I didn't like it, but I got through it though.
In an interesting type of way, I was gonna say that it kind of, at least in my case, like, it also taught me to kind of like pray for other people in a sense, just because not everybody usually has that direct faith. Not everybody prays before their food, for example, right? But just other people going through their situations or their certain mindsets in certain senses. Like, just today, it was kind of wild. This lady received something in the mail, and it was like a check for like some couple $1,000s. And it's like, hey, you won a contest, blah blah blah. Like your total earnings is like 300,000 or something like that. But you know, we gave you this check, so give us a call before you deposit it, and then after you deposit, come home and then give us another call.
Oh wow!
So she came to the bank first just to like check.
It was real, yeah.
Yeah. So like we're looking at it, you know. I'm like, it doesn't seem real at all. It seems like fraud. So went to the branch manager. She looked at it, and we called the number. Well, first we researched the bank that the check was cut from. Well, we called the bank, no answers. Yeah, it's on Google, but there's no
real bank.
There's no real bank. So we called the number on the phone, and, you know, kind of posed as her, and then said, oh, here's a security code, blah blah blah. Okay, and it's like, okay, well, cool. Go ahead and cash that, and then when you get home, call us. And then she puts it on speaker, and she's like, but why though? Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, so we can tell you the date of when you'll receive the rest of your money.
Why can't you tell me that now?
Why? Yeah, like why? And it's like, you know, goodbye, ma'am. And then hangs up the phone. So, you know, obviously fraud. So we go back, tell the customer, but she's an elderly lady, so that's why it's the whole thing in the first place. And, you know, we give her the paper back, and he was like, oh, do you want us to shred that, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, no, like, you know, I want to give him a call myself. And it's like, ma'am, don't do that. Like, this is a scam to get you to release your information. Don't do it. And she's like, oh, no, blah, blah. And she was just fighting it. And it's just like, you know, I as I'm looking at her, I'm just thinking, I kind of understand, because you said you didn't win you never won anything in your life and stuff, and I understand there's some type of sentimental, you know, feeling to it, but it's like there's no good that's going to come of this, and she's not understanding that, she's not taking that, she's not blah blah blah, and the thought just kept across my mind. I was like, you know, I just hope that she doesn't call or something happens to her.
Right, I hope she doesn't get hustled. Right.
Yeah, because that's I can only do so much, especially being at a job. You know? And it's like that's all I can do. And I think that's another thing that just kind of strengthens my faith in a sense, because at least I can give it to him and give it to God to try to handle it, because I can't do anything at the moment. I have to admit that.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I truly understand that, because that's an aspect that, you know, I practice that all the time now. You know, to the point of like, man, I can't help this person. You know, this person doesn't want my help, so I pray they get help. You know what I'm saying? I pray to find the help they need, or whatever turnout needs to happen, it turns out the way they need it to turn out, you know? But yeah, no, and I truly understand how, like you said, it transforms. You know, grandma gave you the pamphlet, and she's saying you pray for you, so it's like, okay, maybe I should pray for others then. Yeah. And you know, what's the word? Pass it on. Or not pass it on. What's the thing when you go to the drive-through and you buy something? Pay it forward. There we go. Pay it forward, you know? So it's like, that's exactly what it is, paying forward in different aspects of life, but it's the same principle. But yeah, nah, bro. I think that's right there was deep, and I think you know, we had a great topic today for sure. Staying sharp. Is there anything you would like to leave with anybody? You know, well, of course, a quote. I don't have a quote right now. I'm gonna put up a quote. But where are you still trying to stay sharp at in your life?
Just discipline. Just working on getting rid of like some bad habits. And you know, I think that just kind of comes into this recent revelation that I was speaking to my therapist about yesterday. Yeah, I think I'm just going to try to go for my master's at minimum in psychology to become like a marriage and family therapist. Okay. But another reason why I'm choosing that, not only because I feel like it just jives with who I am and what I want to do for my purpose, but I think it would also give me just a focus and like something to do to replace, like, you know, smoking cigars or nicotine and stuff like that. It'll give me some type of replacement discipline that I can be consumed in, rather than you know, a thing that's not doing any good for me at the end of the day, you know? Right. So
I feel that. Yeah, no, and I truly understand that. You know, my mindset is more of, I'm gonna go learn something in an aspect that I can more apply to myself a lot better as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be a life coach if I can't coach myself.
That part.
You know, so yeah, I feel that one. Yeah, and then quote I just found was, it was actually pretty good. You are a weapon. Stay sharp and seek balance. You know, and I always think that's beautiful because we always talk about how the body's a machine. You know, we have to fuel us. We have to stay oiled up. You know what I'm saying? You have to make sure that all your components are working or you ain't going to work properly, you know, and that's the same thing as stay sharp. You know, you have to make sure that everything's working. You got to make sure your mind is sharp, your heart is sharp, your mental sharp, because at the same point, I always think the thought of you never know when you have to take off running for your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You never know. We have to be put in a situation where you need to pick between A and B ASAP.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Make an educational fast decision right then and there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know when you're about to be tested. You know what I'm saying? Something life's gonna hit you and throw you through the gutter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so you have to be sharp in all aspects because you never know what's coming and when you're going to need to cut through. You know, so like everybody out there listening today, I highly suggest, you know, take a moment, sit back, go through your past. Think of some things you used to do when you was younger that, you know, your parents taught you to help you stay sharp, or, you know, something that you learned that you always used to love doing, but you just stopped doing it because, you know, maybe it's time consumptions or whatever the hell the case may be. And you might want to get back to it because that can help you really get back to your mind, your body, your spirit, back to where you want it to be.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I feel.
I would say just don't forget where you came from. Don't forget your roots. And I'm not, in this case, I'm not speaking in the familial sense with family. Just more so of what did you enjoy, and then also what did you learn, and just continue to practice that, as you were saying.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like gaming recently has just kind of brought me back to who, like, the person that I used to be in the sense of, like, just enjoying my day-to-day.
Right.
You know? And then I feel like that was just like a nice carryover into where I need to be instead of letting myself fall into this abyss. You know?
Yeah. No, and I, as you were saying, this analogy came to my head. It's like, you know, go back to your old toy chest and go through it and find the toys that you truly loved. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them shit you don't need no more. You know, like you said, go back to your past. A lot of stuff you don't need no more, but there are some things in there that you probably just forgot about it. And you're like, damn, this thing really did make my imagination roll. You know what I'm saying? Or shit, something simple as the Power Rangers come together morphin' thing. It's like, oh yeah, this thing right here always did make me think and imagine and make my mind go. So maybe I do need this toy back in my life. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I do need this workout routine back in my life, or this type of exercise, or wherever it was, this book that I haven't read in a long time. Maybe I need that back in my life and start reading that again. You know, maybe I need to go back to that church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go check it out and see if it's still for me. Because when I used to go there when I was younger, it felt good, and I haven't been there so long now. I feel salty. So let me go back and see if it might rejuvenate me again and be what I need to stay where I need to be at. You know.
I was gonna say, to sum that up pretty well too, just remember your testimonies that you did know you made, and figure out the one that you didn't know you made, and learn from it. Because a testimony is a testimony. That shit truly happened to you, and you only know that. So build off of that, and don't forget.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah. Go back to what worked for you. You know. You never know what it is. So yeah. Thank you for joining me again, bro, for another great episode.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, short and sweet, but to the point. I loved it. Thank you, Jessica, for being in the audience. I don't know if you hear that, but yes. Everybody out there listening today, hope you guys learned something today. You already know if you have a comment or anything, share it with us on our Gmail, Facebook, IG. Make sure to sign up for your Audible book. Make sure we're giving out free knowledge. Get your free 30 days free. Get your 30 days free of knowledge. One book I'm highly suggesting is The 5 People You Meet in Heaven.
Yep.
So yes, please go check that out. I want to listen to it again. Great book, amazing book. And yeah, hope you guys had a wonderful day, a marvelous afternoon, a splendid evening, and remember to just keep swimming. Yes, sir.
Band.